Okay guys, we've got the front flat bar on, bolted it on each side so it won't move or pivot, drilled a hole in the end and I curved around the end of the flat bar, then I attached my steering mechanism onto a long bolt and I double nutted it right here and put washers. So the double nut means the bottom nut is clamped on the top nut, so you leave about, I don't know, about a quarter of a thread, just a really small gap between the bottom nut and the washer, so that allows this mechanism to move while the bolts stay really tight and don't loosen or tighten at all. So this allows it to move really easy. And I just put some WD-40 on here on the bar and then worked it back and forth to pick up the WD-40 and move it underneath the angle iron to kind of lubricate the surface to make turning more sensitive, less stiff. So yeah, that's what we've got at the moment. Here is going to be the hole for the tie rods. I already got the rose bearings. I don't know if I showed you them. I'll show you them right now. These are the 4 rose bearings. Let's go open this up. Okay, so here's our rose bearing. So this threads onto the end of some M10 rod, which is going to be our tie rods, and then the hole in the bottom it's on a ball bearing, so it allows it to pivot, and that hole is gonna again have a M10 bolt through it, attaching it to this piece, so it'll be attached to a rod, pushing and pulling the steering mechanism on there. That's how it's going to all work. And these are really cool. These are £16 for 4, so it's quite expensive just for these little things. But these are like really what make the. Okay guys, back on the go-kart. So I'm going to show you what I've done with the tie rods and steering system. So I've got my rose bearings on here and put washers and bolts to hold them on each end. I measured the M10 threaded bar, put some more rose bearings on the end, which still need to be double nutted, with the nuts just need to be tightened up. And then temporary, just now I've put a piece of threaded bar through them, which will eventually be a bolt onto a plate hanging off this overhead steering shaft, which will have a plate on here, come down, hole in the plate, which will match up with these and bolt to the plate. So whenever this turns, it'll move the plate side to side, just like that, moving these the tie rods side to side, pushing the steering mechanisms with the wheels on the end side to side, and that's how it's going to be. That's how we're going to steer the go-kart. So I've just mocked up this little steering shaft right here, just on a few pieces of wood. And it turns out to be like the perfect size, the perfect length for the steering shaft. So I'll just go sit in the go-kart here. Okay, so we're in the go-kart, sitting quite comfortably in the middle of the seat. Steering shaft ends right here. Probably quite an easy length to drive at. And then about where this wooden beam is here to just keep these the steering mechanism straight when I was attaching the tie rods. This is about where we're going to have the pedals, just here. So acceleration, brake, and then obviously you get the steering shaft to steer the whole go-kart. So yeah, it's definitely coming on really good. And there's not actually that much left to do on this. All I've got to do is get a plate on the end of this, get a steering wheel on the end of this, make some like kind of triangle attachments coming up from the frame like that, multiple ones to hold the steering shaft. Wheels on the front, wheels on the back. Doing 18-inch wheels on the front and 20-inch on the back. This wheel needs to have disc brake. Then I've got to figure out how to attach a sprocket to the drive wheel. And then it's making engine supports and doing the engine. So really, there's not that much left to do. it's actually nearly completed. Like, the most basic go-kart form is nearly done. But obviously, if you want to like paint it or do some more like bodywork and that, I'll probably take a longer. But I'm not planning on doing any of that really. I'm planning on painting it, but I'm not planning on doing like any fancy bodywork yet. I just want to get the basic car, just so I can drive it around. That's all I want. And then in the future, we can maybe look at making it a bit more fancy.